Well, welcome to Living in the 21st Century, and this is the debut here in Attleboro. And joining me this morning is Cathryn Laduke, and she is here with her daughter to discuss Cowden's disease. Now, Carol, tell me exactly what is Cowden disease?
Cowden's disease is a genetic disorder. It is a gene that is passed on from one parent to the child. Her father had the gene and passed it on to Cathryn. So what this gene is, or what this disease is, it's Cowden syndrome. It's P10 hematoma syndrome. It causes some benign tumor growths and some cancerous tumor growths if they're not detected quickly.
Quickly, right.
It has been a traumatic experience for Cathryn, my daughter, since she was little. She, at 7, had a tumor or a mass removed from her right ovary due to this Cowden syndrome. Of course, the surgeon at the time that did the surgery did not know if the tumor was cancerous or not, so they had to remove the right ovary. So she has one ovary and the other one is removed. She's gone through a lot of surgeries since the age of 7 and a lot of tests all her life. That's what this does. You have to get checked, make sure you go to a doctor and get gene testing.
This seems to be a very rare disease. Approximately how many people in the United States is affected with this disease?
Only 1 in 250,000 people are affected with this gene. It is very rare. People do not know that they have it. There's other symptoms and other symptoms that go along with this disease. There's a lot that happens.
Okay. I guess this would be very stressful on you when you come to realize that she has Cowden's disease. How was you able to really cope with this kind of disease and raising her as a child, having a job to deal with?
Yes, it's been difficult to deal with, I have to say, but I am a strong person. I have been in the medical field pretty much all my life, so I have a lot of medical background, and I have the mentality to take care of my daughter and to do the right thing for her. So when we found out she had Cowden's disease, I constantly had her tested, constantly had her at the doctor's. If there was growths, that she had all kinds of growths growing, tumor growths. So as soon as she had them, they were taken out because they can turn cancerous. So the last surgery she had was in 2019. She had a radical double mastectomy at the age of 24 because she had a precancerous breast.
Okay.
So she's had many surgeries.
Do you have an idea what the lifespan is for people who carry this disease, or could this be something that you can operate with, deal with special care and attention and live a full lifespan?
I don't really know the lifespan, but her father had Cowden syndrome, and he had developed brain cancer and died from glioblastoma, and he had the Cowden's disease. So Cowden's disease does affect the brain.
Okay.
It's not proven that it affects the brain. It has, what they proved is a non-cancerous tumor. They have not proven a cancerous tumor. And he died at age 54.
Okay.
So I don't know the life expectancy. He has other family members that have this and are still living. So
But what-
I can't say. I really don't know what the expectancy is.
Okay. One of the things I recognize is that you look normal. There's no way I can tell that your daughter actually has any form of a disease.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't show. She looks normal, she acts normal, she speaks normal. And to be carrying this kind of burden on you as a parent, and she has a daughter, how do you go through life with this psychological impact?
Well, that is another story. Cathryn has disabilities. Cowden's does cause mental disabilities, retardation, mild retardation, autism. She's cognitive delayed, so she is delayed. She is about 3 to 5 years younger than her age. She acts younger than her age. She's going to be 25 next week, but she is socially, she can interact. She's normal. She can work.
Right.
It's just that she's slower than a normal
Yes.
person.
Yes.
She is normal. She's just slower.
Right.
Yeah. So what the impact is that it's caused a lot of issues with work, with school, people treating her differently. It's traumatic. She's depressed sometimes. You might not think so, but inside she has depression and anxiety, and it works on her, and people don't understand what she is going through. And people need to understand that this is a disease. And they need to understand that if people understand, they can help her and become the woman, independent woman that she wants to be. And that's all she wants. All she wants to do is be independent.
Okay. Is it a possibility in her situation that, considering living a normal life, that she would be, I know you said that she had one of her ovaries extracted and so forth. Do you see a possibility, if she wants to settle down with someone in the future, that she may be able to have kids, or that is totally out of the equation?
I don't see that happening. We recently went to her gynecologist, and they want to do a full hysterectomy because her uterus, this attacks the uterus, and uterine cancer is very hard to detect.
Right.
And they feel she has to have a D&C every year until she's ready to have a full hysterectomy. She will need one. I don't see her having children. She may have to adopt when she's ready. So that's going to happen. It is going to happen in the future. We just don't know when that hysterectomy is going to be. She is scheduled to have a D&C in December. Okay. And then we go on from there. Depending on the results, if they find any kind of cancer cells, they will do a hysterectomy.
Okay. Her day-to-day life, do she suffer from any pain? Do this present biological pain in the process of her day-to-day living?
No pain. The only thing that she worries about is the tumors growing. She's very attuned to her body, so she knows when lumps appear. She will tell me, and she'll call a doctor and try to get an appointment to get this fixed, because we don't want these tumors to grow and to become cancerous, because once they're cancerous, you don't know if she's going to be able to come out of that. You don't know if it's going to attack, because this disease attacks all the organs, the urine,
reproductive.
Yes, the urine tract, the head and brain, intestinal. Since she was 14, she's had to have colonoscopies once a year because she develops polyps, which can turn into cancer. So she has to have those. So she's been having colonoscopies every year since she was 14. That's a lot.
Yes.
And you know,
Right.
and this also, you get skin cancer. You can get, it basically, when we first found out about Cowden's disease, it basically was told to us that it was a skin disorder. But that was years ago when we found out her father had it. And that was years ago. And so there was no way of knowing what this disease was.
Right.
The doctors didn't know what it was. And they told us it was nothing. Don't worry about it. It's a skin disorder. And so we never really worried about it.
Yes.
And he had tumors and things removed. But these tumors or these skin growths that grow on your skin look like warts. They grow on your skin and they grow on your face a little bit. Cathryn has a little bit, but not severe like her father had. And it grows in the gums. They're like, it looks like pyorrhea.
Okay.
So it does affect the skin. And every part of your body it affects. So just be aware and be cautious. Be checked. That's what this interview is about.
Right.
Is for people to understand that there is a Cowden's disease out there. Oh, and one major big thing I have to say is that she has, not her, but this disease, people have big heads. It's called macrocephaly.
Okay.
They are people with big foreheads. And Cathryn is not as big as others, but she always had a big forehead. And her father had it, her uncles have it, the ones that have the disease. So it is prominent. So remember, if you're a child or if you have a big forehead, look very deeply at the disease.
Okay. So based on your statistics, it's actually roughly close, approximately close to like 1,500 people throughout the United States who may be carrying this disease. And if this is the case, sense of its abnormality and its rareness, is there any word you would say to the American people to look for? If, a matter of fact, you just said a partial part of it, but is there anything deeper you would like to mention to them that they should look out for in the event that such thing do appear? Again,
look at the head. If you see a child or your husband, the head is a big giveaway. Okay. The skin. On men, I think it happens more on men with the skin than the women. With Cathryn, these polyps or these melanomas that appear, these tumors are growing inside her. So her issue is inside.
Internal.
So these things happen to people. So you have to look at the skin, the head, the intestines, the thyroid. She had her thyroid removed when she was 17, I think.
Okay.
So she had her thyroid removed, and that was precancerous. So they had to give her iodine to kill the cancer.
Yes.
So, and learning disabilities. This affects learning.
Okay.
Mental retardation, autism. If your child, I'm not saying everybody has this with their autistic, but it's part of the disease.
Okay.
So.
Well, Carol, it's a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
I'm going to be speaking with your daughter in a few minutes from now. I'm sorry we couldn't be in a more formal setting, but you know, the coronavirus have prohibited us from doing that.
That's okay.
So I'm going to be speaking with her in a matter of a minute or so from now and see things from her standpoint and where she goes from here.
Okay, and if anybody has any questions, they can contact you or contact me or my daughter by email.
Sure, appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. So now we are here with Cathryn Laduke, the daughter of Carol Laduke, who is the person experiencing the Cowden's disease, right? Cathryn, I know this may be hard for you in many ways, psychologically, emotionally, and biologically. it takes a strong person, or a strong woman actually, to deal with this disease, considering the bad experiences it presents to you. Earlier I spoke to your mom, and you were diagnosed around 7 years, and you undergo several operations for tumors that grown internally, and you had a double mastectomy, I think it was.
Last year.
Right. That's hard for a young woman who's only at the age of 24. At 24 years, that's a lot to go through. Now, just tell me a little bit about your life as a person, having this to struggle with every day.
My life as a person that's going through this disease and going through life in general is that, well, it's kind of like, it's just like you're so accepting, like you deal with, like you want to be accepted and you want to be loved in this world by people.
Right.
And it's hard, and I always make an effort to try to work on being sociable, and it's hard. And people easily could take advantage of me because I always place others before myself, because that's how I am, and that's how our family is. My mom's like that too,
Right.
as you could tell when you talk to her. And we all could easily be taken advantage of when we be nice, but at the same time, being nice is a good thing in this world because we need that.
Yes.
And I've been bullied a lot and been overlooked a lot by people, and a lot of, well, and it's very hard because when I was placed in special ed classes, ever since when I got placed into schooling,
Right.
I started school early when I was 4 because of my problem.
Right.
And my mom thought I should stay back, but we didn't. We had to follow what people were saying, but like life has a way of doing things as it should be. So so basically I was placed in special ed classes basically all my life up till the 12th grade, and then left. And all the teachers have done to me and students was pick on me. And even teachers, we even took field trips to a local prison. I took a field trip in my sophomore year of high school, that we took a field trip to a prison to hear people's stories about people incarcerated. And then my teacher came up to me and told me that you're never gonna make it. You're gonna end up in prison and end up like your dad. And my dad wasn't the father of the year, but he was still my dad, and I loved him very much. And I think of him every day these days, and it has been hard. It has been.
Okay. What word would you want to say to young people? And this is something that happens every day across schools in America. They are experiencing bullying, and this is something rampant throughout schools. How should a person stand up to a bully?
I feel like when you should stand up, the best way to stand up and the best revenge is to become successful and not let anybody get to you, because I don't like to answer with violence or beat people up when somebody gets bad. I'm not a violent person, and I don't do things at ill intent, because like why use violence
Absolutely.
to solve problems with bullying?
Correct.
So the best revenge is I keep learning, I keep growing. I self-teach myself ever since I was 7. And I just have to live my life, because I don't know what's gonna happen to me.
I understand. And when I use the word stand up to bullies, it doesn't necessarily mean fighting back to bullies.
No.
But I think it comes a time in a person's life, and sometimes you don't have to fight.
Bullies like to feed on successful people.
Right.
And I am successful, as I could say,
Yes.
even though I had setbacks.
Right.
So me showing that I'm successful and I'm doing things and I'm working hard to try to make a life for
Yes.
myself. And then even bullies even opened
Right.
up to me and wanted to be my friends
Right.
all of a sudden.
And those are the
Because-
ones that verbally
Yes.
bully you. Okay. So you were more verbally bullied than actually physically
And
bullied.
I was physically bullied at points. Like I got drinks poured on my face in Pawtucket. I had drinks, like literal drinks from dudes. It was from dudes, not women, dudes. I had dudes who bullied me and just do that. And I was called hairy beast. I was called mentally retarded. I was called many things in the book. And even some girls, like I got into a fight with these girls at school, in school once.
Right.
And I didn't want to beat them up. They were, like, I didn't want to fight.
Right.
And then I got in trouble for it.
Okay.
And the police officer was there with handcuffs ready to,
Put you in it.
and I got scared. I was really scared. And me as a opposite person, I know with a lot of things going on right now.
Right.
It's like, just how?
I know. You know, Carolyn, I consider you a very strong young woman.
Thank you.
With intelligence. But one question I want to ask you, because you have experienced some sexual molestation or rape, so
Yes.
to speak.
I
And
was
I'm
raped
sure
at
that there.
14, a few months after my dad's passing.
Okay.
It was in June. And my dad passed, I think it was in February, I think.
Okay. All right. What would you want to say to young women, especially now in this coronavirus times? There are a lot of domestic violence on the
Yes.
rise, and within the doors, the hidden doors of people's homes, there are sexual molestation, ancestry, rape,
Yeah.
however you want to call it.
That happens in the world, and women are afraid to open up and report on it.
Right. What would you say to those women who are scared and don't want to talk about it? I mean, you are here talking about it right now. What would you say to them? Come forward, get out in the open, despite of what? Because you're embarrassed already. However you think about it, you're embarrassed psychologically.
And it embarrassed me because when I reported the rape, everybody thought I was a liar and I was not victimized and I was a suspect of it. Some people even thought I was causing the problem. And it wasn't. It was basically he just had a sexual problem and he wanted to commit a crime. And I really, really think on the bottom of my heart that he was doing that to get in jail, to get at a gang. Because, why commit a crime out of the blue to someone? I thought he was a good friend to me.
Right.
Because I thought we were good. But at the same time, he was dating my friend at the time. And then I turned around, all of a sudden, I thought I was going to die that day.
Okay.
And, but I'm still here.
Right.
And it made me stronger. And all I have to say to to women that are going through this is don't be afraid to come out. Yes, people are gonna not victimize you, they're gonna blame you for things, but you did the right thing to come out, and it's a brave thing to do.
That made perfect sense.
Yeah.
I want to ask you another question. It's a little bit political, but
Yeah.
I want you to tell me from your standpoint what this would mean to women. Now, we are living in some times where Planned Parenthood, I don't know if you know what that is,
Yes.
may be stripped away from females, right? Or stripped away from.
From getting abortions.
Exactly. What would that mean for a woman who got raped from a brother or a cousin or uncle or a father or a grandfather who got pregnant from that person and want to get rid of that child, but because their rights are stripped away, they have no other means of getting rid of that child, they now have to birth it. What would you have to say to a system who create this atmosphere for you?
That is a hard question, to tell you the truth, because yes, that is a big problem that Planned Parenthood is controversial and wants to take
Right.
away that type of right to people that don't want to bear a baby conceived of rape or
Right.
domestic violence or anything else. But if people really want that, why stop them?
Right.
And at the same time, like you want to keep the baby because that's your baby. So it's just like I have
It's like mental trauma, right?
yeah, it's just like I have conflicting views about abortion, but like it's just like I do stand for it because people have the right to make
Right.
that decision.
Right.
And at the same time, like if they want to keep the baby, by all means, because it's yours.
Yes.
And you don't have to go. You have full custody of it, and you don't have to have the child.
Okay. Well, you know what's funny? The late Chief Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she had just passed. She was a strong tongue for women. She gave women a voice in this country. She established the foundation for equality for women in this country. The president at this point in time is looking to replace her with some conservative judge, whatever the case may be. And that person is going to put there not to serve really the Constitution of the United States, but more to serve at the benefits of our president, which means the fight and struggle that they were trying to do all these years in getting rid of Roe versus Wade out through the door may very well happen. Do you think that's an assault on the legacy of Ruth Bader Ginsburg? Do you think it's an assault on her integrity?
Yes, even though I know like the government wants to find a replacement,
Yes.
but at the same time it is ruining that. Like I feel like they should mourn her passing and then think of it in the near future.
But I love what you just said, mourn her passing.
Yeah.
As soon as the judge had passed away, here comes Donald Trump. We got to find a judge, we got to prove her, we got to get her in there. And know what his answer for that is that if we got the votes, we can do anything we want.
I feel like they should keep Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat as a memory, like just keep it vacant.
Well, that would be a good thing, but unfortunately,
As a monument. That would be a good monument.
The Constitution doesn't work. It doesn't necessarily work that way. But I understand what you're saying.
Like-
but I believe that it should not be a rush. This thing takes
No.
time, right?
It shouldn't. I
Right.
agree.
So, Cathryn, briefly tell us about your book that you're going to be bringing out pretty soon in the near future, and what it's going to be all about.
So the book, I kind of strictly call it memoirs
Okay.
because I don't have an undisputed title yet because
Yes.
I don't know what title that's going to
Okay.
make sense. So I'm in the process of writing it, and I hope someone can help me do that. And also, I want to go to college, like for
That's
something
beautiful.
that I want to do, and I want to get into healthcare and follow in my mom's footsteps.
Okay.
Because I look up to my mom, and all I want
That's beautiful.
all I want is to be like her, because she's my biggest hero, to
That's
tell you the
beautiful.
truth.
That's beautiful.
And I want a job that's going to get me to where I have to be with my potential career
Okay.
while I'm in school.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, Cathryn,
Yes.
it's really a pleasure having you here. And for this segment on the Cowden disease, we're going to wrap it up here. But I'm going to bring you back in the near future so we can discuss
Yes.
more on this
More
and your
issues.
future goals.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Cathryn, for joining me today on Living in the 21st Century.
Thank you.